Widespread, significant flooding continues across much of Queensland as the rain continues to fall over inland areas. Over the next few days, the rain will start to move south into much of New South Wales, impacting the east coast. Taking a look at our flood warnings, current as at 11:30 a.m. Queensland time on Thursday. We've got numerous flood warnings in place, ranging from generalised and minor flood warnings all the way up to major flood warnings. Our major flood warnings cover parts of inland Queensland and include the Georgina River, the Western, Thomson, Barcoo, Boolloo and Paru rivers, as well as the Cooper Creek. We've also got a major flood warning in place for the Horton River around Townsville as water continues to move through that catchment there. Now, across many of these catchment areas, rivers are still rising, which means we may see an extended flood peak above the moderate or major flood level over the coming days. This rain has been good news for many of these areas that have needed that rainfall after a very dry few months, but for others, it's starting to have significant impacts on roads and access routes being cut off, and some communities starting to be isolated already. Be aware that this flooding situation is expected to continue not just for the next few days, but likely for the coming weeks as huge flood peaks make their way slowly downstream. We have a number of flood watches still in place for parts of northern, eastern and southern Queensland as well. Flood warnings are not yet in place for these areas, but the flood watches tell us that we may see flooding beginning to develop over the coming days through these areas. Looking at how this will play out over the next few days, we are expecting to see rain continuing across much of Queensland as this low pressure trough drags in moisture from the tropics, feeding it into rain and thunderstorms. The wettest areas today are likely to be central and southern Queensland, particularly those inland areas, spilling down into northwestern New South Wales as well. The North Tropical Coast will still see some moderate falls through the course of today, but that risk of heavier rain is starting to ease back in those areas. We have a severe weather warning still current for heavy rainfall. Now, most of our heavy falls across Queensland are going to be driven by severe thunderstorms, and we will issue severe thunderstorm warnings where we see those developing. However, within our severe weather warning area, we may see heavier rainfall occurring even away from thunderstorms. 6-hourly rainfall totals may reach as much as 50 millimetres, isolated 6-hourly rainfall totals reaching 80 millimetres, with 24-hour rainfall totals likely to exceed 100 to 150 millimetres once again. As we move into tomorrow, we're going to see the focus of the rain starting to shift southwards into parts of northern inland and central New South Wales. Parts of the east coast and even northern Victoria will start to see some patchy rainfall, but the rainfall totals will be a lot lower than what we're expecting across those inland areas. As we move into Saturday, we're going to see the rain shifting eastwards further still, directed by this low pressure trough, gradually moving towards the coast. That means moisture will increase across those coastal parts, and it's likely to be the wettest day for many of our major population centres, including Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, and the New South Wales coast, Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong and the South Coast as well. We're expecting to see a low pressure system starting to develop along the low pressure trough during the course of Saturday. Now, what the low pressure system is going to do is direct further rain and stronger winds against that southern coast of New South Wales. We're likely to see heavy falls developing across parts of these areas, again, most likely driven by thunderstorms. We may potentially see more widespread heavy falls about the south coast in particular. Through the remainder of Saturday and going into Sunday, this low is going to gradually move away from the east coast. We may continue to see strong winds, waves and heavy rain impacting far southeastern New South Wales and eastern parts of Victoria as well, but much patchier showers are on the way across the rest of the east coast. And most notably, by the end of the weekend, we're expecting much drier weather across inland Queensland through those flood affected areas. To recap now, by taking a look at our accumulated rainfall totals between now and the end of Sunday, we can see where we're expecting the focal point for the rainfall to be. Today and tomorrow, that's really through central Queensland, southern inland Queensland and northern inland New South Wales. As we move through the later part of Friday and into Saturday, our focus is going to be the east coast. Rainfall totals won't be as high in these areas compared to those inland parts of the east, but we are still expecting some locally heavy falls in some coastal areas, so be aware that flash flooding may be a risk. We're not expecting to see riverine flooding developing along the east coast, but we may see some minor river rises occurring through the course of the weekend. Now, this situation is continuing to unfold between the flooding and the rain that's moving into New South Wales. Make sure you stay on top of all the details via the Bureau's website, the Bomb Weather app and via our social media. Stay safe and we'll catch you next time.